There is a tree growing right now in the Sahara Desert, in pure sand, no fertilizer, no irrigation, dropping more usable protein per acre than most American cattle operations. Not with machines, not with inputs you have to buy, with nothing but sun, minimal rain, and soil that would kill every crop your government has ever told you to grow. The World Bank spent 40 years funneling agricultural development money into wheat and rice systems that require synthetic fertilizer, annual seed purchases, and irrigation infrastructure to function. Crops that create dependency. Crops that can be priced, controlled, and supplied by someone else. This tree cannot be patented. It cannot be monopolized. It grows where those crops die. By the time this video ends, you will know its name, its history, why 40 years of development funding looked directly at it and turned away, and exactly how to grow it in a container on your balcony for under $30. The archive opens in ancient India, approximately 2,000 years before the birth of Christ. 2,000 years before Christ, in the foothills of the Himalayas, Sanskrit scholars were writing about a tree they called shigru, the tree that can strike at disease like an arrow. The Sushruta Samhita, one of the oldest surviving medical texts in human history, lists moringa as a treatment for more than 300 documented conditions, not as a supplement, as a primary food source, as a weapon against starvation. By the time of the Maurya Empire, around 300 BC, moringa had become a military asset. Historical accounts describe Indian soldiers being given moringa leaf extract before campaigns to increase endurance and suppress pain. The generals who ran the most effective army in ancient Asia understood something modern agricultural economists spent 4 decades refusing to measure. A tree that grows in poor soil and requires nothing from you is the most strategically valuable food source on Earth. The knowledge spread through the ancient Mediterranean. Moringa oil, called ben oil, has been identified in residue analysis of Egyptian burial vessels. It lubricated machinery, preserved skin against desert air, and burned in lamps without the acrid smoke of animal fat. Traders moving through the Ptolemaic period carried moringa seeds across the Red Sea, into East Africa, and westward into the Sahel. For 4,000 years, the knowledge traveled with the people who needed it most. Then, in the 1960s, something arrived that stopped it cold. It did not arrive with a ban. It arrived with money. In 1971, the World Bank co-founded an organization called the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research, CGIAR. Its mandate was to solve world hunger through science. Its actual mechanism was to concentrate the entire global agricultural research budget on 3 crops: wheat, rice, and maize. Crops that produced high yields, yes. Crops that also required synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and hybrid seeds that could not be saved and replanted. Seeds that farmers had to purchase again every single year from the companies that produced them. This was the Green Revolution. It was sold as salvation. It was also the largest transfer of agricultural dependency in human history. Moringa does not appear in a single CGIAR research mandate from 1971 through the 1990s. Not one. No World Bank agricultural loan package in Africa, Asia, or Latin America during those 4 decades included moringa cultivation as a funded component. No extension worker in a developing country was trained to teach it. No agricultural university in an aid-receiving nation had it in the curriculum. The reason is not complicated. You cannot patent a tree that has grown wild for 4,000 years. You cannot sell next year's seeds to a farmer who collected them from last year's pods. There is no fertilizer to bundle with the purchase. There is no chemical input that the tree requires. The financial motive for ignoring moringa is exactly as large as the motive for promoting wheat. The agrochemical industry supporting the Green Revolution, the fertilizer companies, the pesticide manufacturers, and the hybrid seed corporations generated revenues measured in hundreds of billions of dollars annually from the dependency model those crops created. This is not a theory. It is a budget decision documented in 40 years of World Bank annual reports. Here are the numbers they declined to fund research into. Dried moringa leaves contain approximately 27 grams of protein per 100 grams, comparable to beef, which delivers around 26 grams per 100 grams. But beef requires 6 to 7 pounds of grain to produce each pound of meat. Moringa requires 0 pounds of anything except sunlight and minimal water. In semi-arid, sandy conditions, the conditions that define the food-insecure regions where the Sahel famine killed 1 million people, documented field trials show moringa producing 1.5 to 3 tons of fresh leaves per acre per year. In better conditions, up to 9 tons. That protein is complete. Moringa contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it one of the only plant sources on Earth that qualifies as a complete protein without any combining or processing. A Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health review, published in 2005 by researcher Jed Fahey, documented moringa across peer-reviewed literature as among the most nutrient-dense plants ever formally studied. 17 times more calcium per gram than milk, 25 times more iron than spinach, 10 times more vitamin A than carrots. Then there is the water. Research published in the journal Water Research in 1995 demonstrated that moringa seed powder reduces turbidity in contaminated water by 80 to 99%. No aluminum sulfate, no chemical plant, no infrastructure. Crushed seeds stirred into a bucket, comparable in effectiveness to the chemical treatments that municipal water systems in the developed world depend on. Protein, complete amino acid profile, water purification, drought resistance, sandy soil tolerance, all documented, all peer-reviewed, all sitting outside every World Bank agricultural budget for 40 years. So here's the question that should make you furious. If one tree does all of this, grows in sand, clears water, produces complete protein, and asks for nothing in return, why did 4 decades of development money go to wheat? Niger. A mother walking 3 hours to a grain distribution point, carrying a child, showing signs of acute malnutrition. The grain being distributed was shipped from abroad. It required logistics chains, refrigerated storage, and delivery schedules dependent on international funding cycles. It would be gone in 6 weeks. Moringa trees lined the road she walked on. No extension worker had told her they were edible. No NGO pamphlet listed their nutritional content. No government program had taught the preparation of moringa leaf powder. Church World Service researchers arrived after the famine had taken 1 million lives and found exactly this. The tree had been there the whole time, growing wild, asking nothing, labeled by no one. The UN currently estimates 733 million people as chronically food insecure. The majority live in moringa-growing climate zones. The tree is not theoretical. The neglect is. Moringa never disappeared. In the places where the World Bank's infrastructure never reached, the villages in Niger, the homesteads in Senegal, the farming communities in rural India, families kept the knowledge alive. The only way knowledge survives a funding blackout, hand to hand, generation to generation, as quietly as the tree grows. Seeds cost $8 to $15 for 50 seeds, available online. They germinate in 5 to 12 days in any well-draining soil, and sand works. Plant in full sun. Do not overwater. The tree evolved for drought and will rot in saturated soil. Cut it back to 18 inches every 45 to 60 days. The coppicing triggers a rapid leaf flush, and that flush is the harvestable portion. The first harvest can come as early as 60 days after planting. In zones 9 through 11, it grows year-round. In cooler climates, grow it in a 15-gallon container for under $30 total, and bring it inside before frost. 1 tablespoon of dried leaf powder provides 3 grams of complete protein, plus significant iron, calcium, and vitamin A every day for free. Plant it once. In the right climate, harvest for 20 years. That is abundance. And abundance is the enemy of every dependency system they built. Share this with someone who is ready to grow something that does not need permission to feed them. Every share preserves what 40 years of funding decisions tried to bury. You cannot erase a tree that grows in sand.